This is Lucas Hunt with Eastern Illinois. I'm doing my senior seminar on how technology in the fitness industry has changed along the years. And I'll go along some of the equipment we have, bars, shoes, weights, different bands, and different machines that have changed over the years and help us adjust our workouts. So, first I'm going to head right here to just a couple of Olympic lifting bars and different types of bars we have. As you will come up and see, some bars have no knurling in the middle, the rough part of the bar. And these ones are mostly for the Olympic lifts, like clean and jerks, snatches, deadlifts, other types of bench press. Now the bars with the knurling in the middle, the rough part, will be used for squats because it'll help you have the grip in your back so the bar can rest. Now, some bars actually have more whip in them, more bend, so you can get more explosion for the Olympic lifts and deadlifts compared to a stiffer bar that you want for a bench press or a squat. Now, before, bars weren't like that. There was only standard types of bars that were more stiff and had more give. There wasn't necessarily the knurlings or as much as whip or as much as stiff as you wanted. So bars have changed throughout the years. We'll head over to some more types of bars over here. Right here we have a couple trap bars. It's simulating a deadlift, but making you use all of your legs in rather than some back. So it's just a different type of grip. It's another method that's used to help train weak points in a deadlift rather than take place of your actual deadlift. So it's another training tool that you use that people never had before, and this is something that's probably 20 years old at the youngest. So, and there's different types of two different shapes. Right here, triangle bar. Triangle bars are the same way, just a different type of movement. We have a log press here. Now a log press is a training method that helps with your bench press or a shoulder press. And it's another method that uses three-point training because of the way the bar path travels over your head is not as natural as a bench press. So it makes you really lock out your workout and lock out your elbows. We'll head over to some resistance bands. Right over here we have different types of resistance bands. We have 5 pound, 10 pound, 30, 40, 50, 60, up to 100 pound resistant bands. And all these can be added to squat bars, deadlift bars to help with resistance training. So another weak point movement that make you add resistance to them and it makes you work through the movement harder. Another way you get stronger, bigger, stronger. They didn't have resistance bands like this before. They just had maybe cheaper ones, kind of like these, that are just not necessarily for weightlifting, they're for physical therapy. We'll go over to some shoes. As you can see, we have Olympic lifting shoes here, which are heavy heel and lifted heel off the ground. So on a squat or Olympic lift, you want your heel to be planted, smashed into the ground. You don't want you don't want to be on your toe when you're squatting or on your toes when you're doing Olympic lift. So that's why it has a raised heel, because it reduces injury from your knees and your hips, along with your back, because your weight's on your heels. These were probably invented 1970s, where they first were introduced probably. And before, people just had tennis shoes, running shoes, or flat sole shoes like Chuck Converse or Chuck Taylors. And then they realized that certain movements are better to have a raised heel, and certain ones are better to have a flat heel. That's why they developed Nike's, Adidas Addy Power lifting shoes, where it raised heel. You have Reebok CrossFit Nanos, who are lifted heel a little bit. And the ones I have on, you can see here, are flatter sole shoes for a deadlift or a movement that you want your whole foot on the ground flat. There's just different changes in them from over the years, you can see. And we'll head over this way. Different types of accessories we have are chains. People add chains to your bench press. along as squats and deadlifts, because the chain will gather on the ground, and once it comes off the ground, it'll let up with resistance and you'll have the whole weight. As you're going down to the ground, the chain will hit the ground and the weight will lower. So it adds different resistance and different weight to the chains to make a difference. We'll head over this way. This is called a glute ham raise. And what you'll do is you put your feet on here and you lean up this way and you drag your feet up to your butt. So you raise your legs up and down. So what it does is it works on your lower back strength along as your hamstring strength. And that's something that's been newly developed within 5 years or so, instead of doing the traditional back extensions over and over again where you're not engaging your hips and you're not engaging your glutes as much.
6 minutes.
Over this way, we have another different types of bars. We have a safety squat bar, as you can see here. The safety squat bar is not a traditional bar. The goal of this bar is to make you stand straight up and down to work on keeping your core tight and bracing your core when you're performing a squat, rather than hunching over or not going deep enough. Because on a traditional squat, your hands are up far. On this one, the bar is on your shoulders right here, and you have to pull it down to keep the bar in line with your toes. So when you're performing a squat, you're not leaning over. It's another form of resistance training to a regular squat. Over here we have different types of stands for your front squat or squats. This is called a tree stand. There are 2 separate pieces that you can adjust for different space if you don't have as much space as a squat rack. And you can pinch these in almost anywhere. They're adjustable. Before, there was just the traditional squat rack that you can see over here.
7:30.
That almost weighs a ton. And you would have a squat rack here that was welded off and it's planted into the ground. Now there's half racks like this, like come off a wall and have a pull-up bar with it that have a lot more room. There's tree stands here, and then there's monoliths and other type of squat racks that we don't have here. And along with that, we have other type of machines that have been developed. Over here are multiple types of sleds. Sleds are for burnout workouts, endurance training workouts, and working on your power and driving. And you can see the sleds here on a turf surface. They're pretty easy to move. And you add your weight onto here to make as much resistance as you want. This is another power training workout that's used for mostly athletes now. Along with that, we have stands for Olympic lifts and deadlifts. These are called either boxes, stands, or blocks. And you can higher and lower these to work on a weak point. So when you do a deadlift is coming off the ground, all the way from the ground. But a lot of people's weak point is at their knees. So they can get the bar up to their knees, but they can't get it past that point. So that's why they have the blocks to work on that weak point training when it starts at your knees right here, and you're pulling it off the ground and performing the movement. This is new stuff they had that in the 1960s, 70s, they're finally developing it, but they're using like tires and wooden platforms in substitute for it. Over here, we have different type of machines that a lot of people will be familiar with. They're basically circuit training machines that you'll see all commercial gyms have. You have ab machines here to work your core. You have more ab machines here. They're all weight plate adjusted. So all you have to do is pull the pin in and pull it out. And when machines were first made, they were plate added. So you actually had to grab plates, and add weight to them to use them. Now we have the stacks of weights already built into the machine. All you have to do is pull a pin.
Ten minutes.
A machine for shoulder raise right here. So you have dumbbells that you do shoulder raises with before, and now you can use a machine that you can actually just raise your shoulders with it and adjust the weight to whatever you need to. Tricep push down, another type of movement created. Instead of using dumbbells or anything that's a lot of pressure on your elbows, because after performing multiple heavy lifts, your elbows can be fried and puts a lot of pressure on your elbows to use dumbbells. That's why machines are invented to have low impact. So it's a simple push down, controlling the movement all the way through. Again, these machines probably were developed 40 years ago, but gradually they change on position, angles of the pads, angles of the back, to make it less impact on your joints and more functional for your muscles. Head this way. Over here are your Concept 2 rowing machines. Again, these are kind of new cardio equipment that was developed for CrossFit and row training, and now it's brought into a lot of circuit training and CrossFit Olympic training, and they're very portable, unlike a heavy treadmill or heavy exercise bike, elliptical. It takes up a lot of room. These are probably 70 pounds total, so they can carry them. They have wheels, and it's something that was been up to date, that the older rowing machines, probably 15 years ago, were 300, 400 pounds, and you couldn't move them. Now these are portable and can move them. They're easy to work on. So that's just how stuff kind of changes over time and how you adapt to it. We'll head over here. Weight plates. Before you see there's iron, the metal weight plates that you notice a lot right here. They're older. These are probably 30 to 20 years old right here. And a lot of them are, since they're metal and steel, they're miscalibrated. So they're not actually 45 pounds like they say. They're 43, 44 pounds, so they're not as accurate. They developed these rubber-coated plates here by Rogue, Pendelay, and these are Olympic lifting plates, certified for Olympic lifting, 100% accurate, and they're used for CrossFit because you're able to drop the bar without damaging the barbell because they're rubber-coated. So they give when they hit the ground, the barbell doesn't break. So that was a new up-to-date. And I can point out the fact that this gym is a CrossFit box or Olympic lifting, powerlifting gym. It's not a commercial gym, public gym that is used and is funded by companies or a franchise, and there's no insurance here either. So a lot of stuff is privately owned, and it's high quality equipment. And this gym is called The House in Peoria, Illinois, and that's all I have now for the senior project.